Hello and welcome to our very first ever episode on Daddy Nation and Mommy Nation podcast. I am very excited to have been able to finally get to launch this podcast. This is a safe haven for anyone and everybody who wants to just have conversations. It's conversations that I believe are needed, much needed in our communities, in our churches, in our homes, and in our families. Conversations that we keep hold of, and sometimes we're just not at liberty to talk about. But in this platform, we've decided to let it all on the table, have conversations, and hopefully get people to heal, strengthen relationships, and move forward. Now, without further ado, today, like I said, it's a very exciting day for me, not only because we are launching our very first episode, but I get the opportunity to interview somebody who is very special to me, somebody who has walked this journey with me for over 25 years. Yes, that's right. 25 years of love, 25 years of leadership, mentorship, and just being a present father. I'm talking about none other than my dad, Dr. Tich Tanyanywa. Dr. Tich Tanyanywa is a visionary, he's a leader, author, and kingdom economist committed to transforming lives through faith, wisdom, and practical empowerment. As the founder of Transformation City Church, SP 101 Faithland publishes, he mentors leaders across Africa in biblical economics, entrepreneurship, and family restoration. With over 3 decades in ministry and marketplace leadership experience, Dr. Tich has written over 120 books on wealth creation, success, and kingdom living. His passion is to raise a generation of economic masters, transformational leaders who influence nations of God's leaders for God's glory. He and his wife, Dr. Francisca, lead with integrity. They lead with integrity, excellence, and generational vision. Now, I would not be doing any justice if I went into this podcast without mentioning Dr. Francisca. Dr. Francisca is my mom. These two have literally walked the journey with us from when they got married. Now, you can only imagine, you've just come in from your honeymoon phase and you just get 3 kids put on your doorstep, you get to parent them. This is the kind of people that I'm talking about. You cannot have a heart bigger than that. This is my mom, this is my dad. They've literally put to test what love, true love is. And I am a living testimony of what love can do in one's life. Now, without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Dr. Tich. Dr. Tich, welcome to the platform.
Hey, it is so good to be here. I am so excited. I'm like over the moon. This is a long time coming, and I think this is really such a timely conversation, both in terms of the journey that you've been on, and every one of the people that are watching this program. There's a lot of people that are in need of the wisdom that you're going to be sharing on this program. So congratulations, and I'm excited to be here.
Oh, thank you so much. That means so much to me. And I know, honestly, you've sacrificed your time. I know when I reached out to you, in my head, I was thinking, will you have the time? Because I know how many hats you wear. I know how busy you are. But just being able to afford me the opportunity, I do not take it for granted. So we are just going to...
Did I even have a choice? When your firstborn daughter asks you for something, it's like, okay, we have to throw everything away. Let's get this thing going.
Of course. Well, thank you. All the same. Thank you, Daddy.
Mm-hmm.
I am honestly thoroughly blessed to have you in my life. Now, to Tich, what does fatherhood personally mean to you?
Wow, that's a very deep question, very good question. For me, it means that which gives life, that which gives identity, that which gives strength, that which gives wisdom. So in essence, I studied this extensively in terms of fatherhood because similar to you, I come from a background where my dad wasn't like a present dad. He was an interesting dad, but I came from that background. So I needed to understand. So I realized that being a father, being a dad means you're a source of wisdom, counsel, knowledge, insight, source of fun, source of covering, source of direction, a place to get some wisdom to say, Dad, I think I want to do this. What do you think? And we bounce ideas until we come up with a conclusion. So it's kind of that connection with somebody who's been there, done that, got the t-shirt, burnt their fingers a little bit so that you don't have to burn your fingers. So that for me is what fatherhood is all about.
You are somebody that has had many different people walk through your doors. I mean, they've passed through your hands as a father, as a mentor, as a pastor as well. And I know because I've lived in the same house with you, I've seen people from all walks of life. We've had people that are addicted to drugs, people that, are coming from all kinds of lives. What do you think gives you, the strength or to carry on every day to be able to handle those people? I must also add, every single person that I saw coming through those doors, when they left, I can say they never left the same. They were always a better person. I know for you, for me, because I've lived with you, I know that it's your passion. But what do you think makes it easy for you to be able to every day you wake up and you want to change somebody's life?
Wow. You seem to be having nuggets and mic drop questions today. Really good. What happened with me is many years ago, because of what I went through with my father-son relationship, I
Mm,
felt alone. I felt forsaken. I didn't have anybody to ask questions like, Dad, what does it mean to have a girlfriend? What does it mean? What is sex? What is drinking? I didn't have those conversations with my dad.
yeah,
So when I then came into the church world and somebody accepted me, mess
mm,
and all, accepted me the way I was, loved
yeah,
me the way I was, and became that father to me, became that source of counsel, wisdom, advice, connection. I then realized that there's so many people that were in that space. They were broken, not because they wanted to be broken. They were on drugs, not because they wanted to be on drugs. They were
yeah,
messed up, not because but they just didn't have any solutions. So I said to myself, I am going to be that person to as many people as I can. So whenever people walk into my space, I see the potential in them. I see the great leader. I see the great voice. I see greatness in them. And my one assignment in life is to help that greatness come out of that person. And that's really the thing that drives me to make the investment into people, to sit down with people and talk to them, love them, encourage them, rebuke them, correct them, walk the journey, and sometimes get a few punches while you're at it. You get punched, you get hurt, but you still get up and smile anyway, and you say, you're still worth it. I'm still going to invest in you because every single person counts.
yeah. I mean, I can attest to that. Really, I think this goes beyond just the passion for people. In your case, what I see is the true calling of God upon your life, because I give myself as an example. When I walked into your life, honestly, I was thinking the other day that the time that I met you, because when I was thinking about this podcast, and I thought to myself, the time that I met you, I was so broken, I was so wounded. I honestly did not want to hear or see anything called a man, and I say it with all respect to men, not to demean any man or anything like that. But because of my background and what I'd gone through in that phase, I didn't want to hear anything called a man. But you somehow managed to, draw me close and show me what, fatherhood is. And not only just fatherhood, but Christian like fatherhood. I would still mess up. And sometimes I think I just did it on purpose to see how far, I mean, as children, I see it with my own children now. We will push boundaries just to see how far you can go, and you still would still love me. And I'm like, this man, can you not get angry, So I think it just through your nature and who you are, I then realized, listen, this is not just passion. This is not just, oh, I want to be the cool pastor, because I think then we used to call you Pastor Extreme, this is a calling. And so I genuinely can attest to that because I've lived it and I've seen it. So thank you for that. And I just wanted to ask as well, many people grow up with absent fathers. How or what can you advise to somebody who's just grown up in an environment where there's no father figure that's really, there, but they know better now and they want to do better. How can they turn that around? Because in as much as we might want to keep quiet about it, those things still come back to our minds, where how you were brought up obviously to a certain extent determines how you live your life unless you decide to change it. What advice would you have for those kind of people?
Sure, that's a very deep and emotional question. But speaking to whoever may be watching today, and you're saying to yourself, I don't have that father. My dad is not present. My dad is far away. I've
Yeah,
been there, like I said, been there, done that, got the t-shirt.
yeah,
My first advice is get yourself into a church environment, get yourself into a Christian environment, a church environment where there's a pastor, where there's a men's fellowship, where there's a couples ministry. If you're a young lady, get into a community where a woman who has a husband, the two of them can now kind of become almost like godparents to you. Become your covering, submit to them, let them speak into your life. Let your pastors become that person to you. You know, there's a saying that in an African proverb that
yeah,
says it takes a village to
yeah,
raise a child.
yes,
So
yeah,
create your village, either in the church or within the community that you're in. There will be a father figure, a mentor, somebody maybe even in the workplace. Some of you may be even in your 20s, 30s, and 40s, and you're still looking for a father figure. Get
yeah,
into that kind of a mentorship father relationship with a man who you can trust, somebody who has a track record of integrity, living a life of principles, of honor, and of openness and transparency. And that way you can now develop a sense of accountability. I want to bring my life to submit to you. I want you to teach me what it means to be a man, what it means to be a woman. The Bible does actually say, you older women teach the young women how to keep their homes, and you older men teach the young men. So the fathers, the older men, have to take on that responsibility. I'm going to share my life with you. And my
yeah,
life doesn't have to be perfect for me to be a father. I just have to now understand that I have a responsibility to pour life into you. I may have made mistakes, I may have done some stupid things, but those things become part of the whole journey. So you're looking for someone, go into a church environment, create a village, create a community, go and approach and say directly, don't even mince your words. Say, here I
yeah.
am. I want to learn. I want to learn to be a man. I want to learn to live life. I want to learn how to be successful. Please teach me. And once you do that, you create a gradient of reception, and the person will be willing to invest into you.
Wow, that's very profound. Maybe just to also ask on top of what you've just said, you mentioned people going out to look for somebody trustworthy and all that. And we all know, unfortunately, in the times that we're living in, it's not very easy to find somebody that you can easily trust. Why? Because people are just not the same anymore, I think, and someone might be struggling to say, how do I know that this person is going to, be discreet and they're going to actually accept me for who I am? What I suppose what my question to you is what advice do you have to those people that are deemed as the leaders, or the people that actually have accountability for other people under them, people that are put up there as the leaders, or people that are leading people? What can you say to them so that they are more approachable, so that people can feel a little bit more comfortable going to them, having conversations? Because I think that's what many people fear, especially maybe, in communities, that I can't go to my leader because what if he's going to just talk about my stuff to everybody? What would you say to the leaders that are out there?
Oh yeah, whew, that's a heated one. But here's the advice. I manage businesses. I manage my books, my projects. I manage resources, church equipment. I oversee all of this. But
Yes.
there is nothing in my life
Yeah.
as strong as my responsibility over the people that
Mhm.
God brings into my life. For me, that is sacred. For me, that is holy. For me, that is like, oh my goodness. So I want to encourage anyone who has responsibility over a person. You're a parent, you're a
Yeah.
father, you're a pastor, you're a head of department, you're a deacon, you're an elder, you watch over people's lives.
Mm.
Understand that that is God entrusting you with destinies. That is God entrusting you with dreams, with potential, with people's lives. There is no greater responsibility than that over people's lives. So treat it with reverence. Don't be a gossip. Don't be a big mouth. Don't go and talk all over the place. Anything spoken on a one on one basis is sacred and cannot be shared without permission. So always treat all things relating with your responsibility with caution. But to speak also to the people that are looking for a person to watch over them, don't just
Yeah.
choose, willy nilly or ad hoc.
Yeah.
Check the track record. What is
Yeah.
their reputation? How consistent have they been in ministering to others? Do they have a reputation of abusing people verbally or talking all over the place? Check, because there are people, unfortunately, even in the church, a lot of people that do not know how to keep matters in heart. So it's important that you choose carefully and with wisdom. Be led by the Holy Spirit. Check their track record. Do a
Mm.
little research and check. Just like when you're looking for a husband or a wife, you're doing a little. You check their search. What you call this? Their social media.
Yeah.
Who are their friends? What are they? So do the same. Do a little due diligence and know what their background is before
Yeah.
you make the decision. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. That is quite profound. That is quite and I like what you've just said, because I don't sometimes I think as people we do not understand, the mandate and how big of a calling it is for you to have people that God entrusts you with. So it's very profound that you say that, that if you're given that mandate, make sure that you guard it jealously. That's very profound, and I really like that. So, on to my next question. How can men become healing figures in the society? And I say this from a point of, with masculinity and men in our society, the perspective is men, they're big and they just couldn't be bothered with a lot of things. And especially in the African cultures, it's so difficult to get through to fathers, or to talk to a dad. How then how do men become healing figures in our society so that we see them differently, so that it's easy? I know you've just mentioned about leaders and all that, but when it comes to men, how can they become healing figures such that when I know if I see you, honestly, I know this is my safe space, this is my dad. I can come and say, Dad, this is happening, this is the issue, and we can have a conversation. But not everybody is that privileged, and not everybody has that kind of a relationship. So I don't know if you can assist on that.
Yeah. Definitely. We actually have a coaching program that we call the Real Man. A,
Yeah.
the Real Man, a Mission Impossible. So
Oh,
we put those two phrases together: a real man, Mission
yeah,
Impossible. But it's really to provoke this conversation to say, no, we can be real men, and real men means yes, we are strong, yes, we are tough. But
yeah,
guess what? Yes, we've made mistakes. Yes,
yeah,
we're sensitive to the fact that we're dealing with other people that will
yeah,
also make mistakes. So to become a healing father means I open up my life. And
yeah,
anyone who comes into that space, I'm able to share my life, my experiences, my successes, my failures, my disappointments, and all the stuff that, because people feel safe in a place where there's no spirit of being condescending. It's like,
yeah,
yeah, I'm the guy, I'm perfect, I'm the Hercules, nothing can break me. No, yes, I do get broken, I do cry, I do feel emotion. I do get discouraged. I do get tired. So when you come into my space, you're going to find the real me. We're going to cry together. We're going to pray together. We're going to stand together. And
yeah,
I'm intentionally creating an environment that is safe for you to say, I know when I go there, when I go and talk to my dad, I'm going to be able to connect. One of the books I wrote is a book called Pillars of Power Parenting.
yeah,
And one of the chapters on pillars of power parenting is the pillar of friendship. And I know world-renowned psychologists say parents are not supposed to be friends to their children. I am of a totally different philosophy. From the
Yeah,
Bible, I learned that parents are, I'm supposed to be my children's best friend. They should talk to me. Dad, there's this guy, he's so cute, he's looking at me. And, you know, those conversations should be easy to have. Why?
yeah,
Because I'm the one who's going to be giving wisdom and advice and counsel to say, think about this, think about this. So I create a safe space so that my daughters can see, all the daughters can see. Dad
yeah,
is somebody who's going to give me objective wisdom and counsel. So you create a safe space, you invite people into that safe space, and you create the parameters, or what I call the rules of engagement. When we talk, you're safe here. I'm not going to talk to anybody about this. And you know, I'd often even say to the kids, to you guys, you'd remember, this is a safe space. Talk about anything.
yeah,
Who's phoning you? Who's messaging you? Who's trying to come into your space? It's like I want to know who they are, and it's not because I want to bash them. When they come, I want to know their vision. Who are they? Do they love you? Do they? So it's creating a safe space and a
yeah.
healing space.
Wow, wow, wow. And that is so true. I mean, I remember when I was at home and, you'd be going through your adulting stage and, you'd come and you'd be like, Dad, this is happening. And because you are that, like you've just said, you've opened that space and you've allowed it, to be a safe space. And this is what I'm hoping, the people out there can get to realize that all we need as humans is just love, support, and somebody to hear us because in
Mm.
many cases it's so easy to just live life and just go by life and not realize that you're missing the important parts. And if I may ask, how important is how important is it for fathers to model consistency and emotional availability to their children? I say this because I think when we were growing up, not with you, of course, but you'd hear around a lot of times parents would say, "Do as I say, not as I do." And it's easy for them to just open their mouth and say that, but they don't realize, obviously, as humans, we emulate what we're seeing. What you're doing is what our by nature just try sort of follow, into the footstep. So, how important is it for a parent to be consistent, for a father to be consistent and just be emotionally available for their children?
Oh wow, that one is a big one, and it's like a game changer.
Yeah.
The fathers are the model. The word father in the original in the Bible comes from the word pata. Pata
Yeah.
is the word where we get the word like patron.
Okay.
Patron. The etymology means pattern,
Yeah.
model, example, prototype. So
Mm.
everything I am, my children will be.
Yes.
So it is saying, do what I say and not what I do. It does not work
Yeah.
because your actions will always speak louder than your words. So
Yes.
children that grow up in an environment where their father's words and actions are inconsistent become
Mm.
broken and dysfunctional. They become confused. But
Mm.
if there is integrity, and that for me has always been, and you would always hear my conversation with you guys, is I
Yeah.
would say I will never, ever lie to my children. I never wanted to lie. Not as if I said I'm going to do something, I was going
Mm.
to do it. Because when I was young, my father said to me, if you
Yeah.
pass in school, you're going to get a bicycle. I passed first term, I didn't get the bicycle. Second term, didn't get the
Yeah.
bicycle. Third term, this was in grade one, the bicycle never came. And then I realized that my dad was not telling the truth. So
Yeah.
that affected me so much that if
Oh,
I had not dealt with it, it would
yeah.
have still been an issue even when I got to adulthood. But at least God healed me, God restored me, and God brought me to a place where my life began to shift. So
Yeah.
we've got to model consistency. We've got to demonstrate that, hey, I am here for you and you're coming to learn from me. You'll even when I make mistakes, I'm gonna come and I'll apologize and say, sure, I made a mistake. I'm sorry about that. Forgive me. Why? Because I want you to know that when you grow up, you're also going to make mistakes. And when you do, you have the the open door to come and apologize, whether it's to your children or to your parents or to your spouse. So it's got to be demonstrated. It's got to be real. It's got to be real.
That is wow. That is wonderful. That is absolutely lovely to hear, for especially coming from you as well, not only as my dad, but I speak for many people that I know you raised, under your wings and you brought up. So that is really beautiful to hear because this is a living testimony of, what true love is. Um, Again, looking back from maybe moments where God used you in people's lives and to impact people, without even realizing, what would you say was the number one driver for you to, to be able to tackle that space where you're going into? I know we spoke about it earlier when we began the conversation, but I just want you to maybe talk about that because I know there's many men out there that probably have a lot of love to share, but again, they step back because it's like, okay, am I doing too much? Or a man shouldn't be doing this, or there's a lot of misconceptions around masculinity, again, like we mentioned earlier. What do you think was your driver for you to just be able to get into the space, love on people, and carry on with the passion as you are even up to today?
Mm. I think it emanates from, and that's a great question. It emanates back to this void that was in my life.
Mm.
Um, Prior to my getting committed and serving the Lord, when I just finished high school, not high school, well, secondary, and I had this gap space where my life fell apart. I had a vision, a desire to be a doctor. I didn't do too well at school. My
Yeah.
life fell apart. I went to my dad and I said, can I go back to school and do my O levels so that I can catch up in order to go back to high school so that I can go to university? And my dad kind of dropped the ball on me and said, no, it's not possible. My whole world fell apart. My vision, my dream, the desires that I had. And I felt so helpless. I felt like, oh my goodness, I've been let down. I've been let down by the person that I thought is supposed to be my go to. I didn't have an uncle I could talk to, a cousin I could talk to, another person I could talk to. So literally, my world, boom, came to this dead end. And then I had to ask the question, what am I going to do with my life? So there was this sense of emptiness. So
Yeah.
whenever I see people today and I see that same emptiness, it
Mm.
resonates so deeply. I know what they're thinking. I know that they're feeling there's no one who can think of looking after me, think of feeding me, think of paying my fees, think of paying my bills and sustaining me indefinitely. So because I know the feeling and the experience I went through, I do my best now to say, if I see a person who's in that space, I'm going to reach out. And we've had the opportunity of helping so many with school fees, so many with love, with encouragement, with healing. That thing for me, it really still moves me today. When I think of it, it moves me with so much emotion, and that's the thing that drives everything I do.
Wow. Wow, that is profound. And what legacy? I mean, maybe if we go into legacy and, just the Bible does say a good man leaves an inheritance for his children. Yeah. What legacy should fathers strive to leave behind for their children or for their,
Mm.
yeah, descendants rather?
Oh my goodness. I'm going to take these questions and I'm going to write a book. My goodness. These are really, really good questions. Really good questions. You must write a book about this. But I think the first legacy, the first area is wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Every
Yeah.
father has a responsibility to give their children wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Before we even think money, material things, the first responsibility is what wisdom am I pouring into my child? Because for me, I love it. I always tell kids, you guys were there. Would sit in the house and I'll tell you stuff, and then I'm repeating stories and just say, "You've told us that before." And I say, "Yes, that's exactly what I want." Because one day when I'm gone, you must be
Yeah.
sitting there with your children and grandchildren and say, "My dad used to say."
Yes. Oh, that. Very true.
So for me, that's the first legacy. The second one is the fear of God. Bring the children up in the fear of God. Let them
Yeah.
understand that God loves them and that God is the solution. That's why we demonstrated prayer. We demonstrated going to church. We demonstrated speaking the word so that you could know that when we need financial breakthrough, we go to the word. When we need an open door, we go to the word. That's the
Mm.
second one. Then the third one
Yeah.
is the resources, what materials, what inheritance, what education, what materials and tools are you giving to the next generation to say you will inherit one, two, three. That's going to make your life better. So those are the three levels. There are subtitles to each one of them, but those are the three levels of inheritance.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. And dare I say, what hope do you have for the next generation of fathers? Is there hope at all?
Ooh. Well, there is hope. Hope must always be there. We must always have some sense of hope.
Yeah.
I've just, like I said, I've just finished writing a whole curriculum
Yeah.
that we are now using called The Real Man, Mission
Yeah.
Impossible. Really
Yeah.
challenging fathers and men to say, come on, men, we can make a difference. So we now have a number of books and materials that we're using. Why am I doing this? Because over the years, I have trained men. I have trained fathers. And there are fathers that I see today that have become good fathers. Your husband is an example. He's become a great father,
Yeah.
trained him, worked on him, prayed with him, walked the journey with him, and look what the Lord has done. And
Yeah.
I do believe any man can become a better man, better father, better leader. I'm an example. Coming from a place where my parents divorced and their marriage really came to a place where it was really so bad. And I was going to be like that. But I was
Mm.
taught to be a father. I was taught to be a husband. I was taught to love. I was taught to look after a wife. So if I, that guy who was broken and messed up like I was, could become this
Yeah.
kind of father, hey, there is hope. There is hope
Amen.
for any man who's watching this program. And I want to encourage you, hey guys, I know my daughter hasn't done this. I want to really encourage you. Like, subscribe, follow, stay
Yeah.
connected to that
Yeah.
Daddy Nation, and you will learn amazing, amazing, amazing things. So there is definitely a lot of hope. If we
Yeah.
continue with conversations like what you have started here, we can build into something really significant. So keep going.
Amen. 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 And lastly, Dr. Teach, before you go, what final message would you like to leave Daddy Nation or to anybody who's got mommy wounds, who's got daddy wounds? They don't know where to start. They are so broken, they are so hurt. And like I said, it's not that easy for them to just open up to anybody. What would you say to them? If you were to speak to them directly right now, what words of encouragement would you give them?
I would say, hey, there is no wound that cannot be broken. In Psalm 23, we kind of quote it a lot and we think it's a funeral psalm. The Lord is my shepherd. He makes a very powerful statement there and he says, he restores my soul. Those
Amen.
daddy wounds, mommy wounds, that's what he's talking about. You're
Yeah.
wounded, you've been through trauma, you've been through pain, you've been through hurt, you've been
Yeah.
through rejection.
Yeah.
And in your soul, you're broken. In your soul, you're hurt. You're bent out of shape. You've lost hope of ever having a good marriage or ever having a good relationship with a man or with a woman based on the brokenness that you went through. If God could heal me, he can heal you. Let me tell a little story just in 1 minute.
Yeah.
I think it is 2 years, 2.5 years ago. I had the
Mm.
privilege of traveling from Johannesburg back to Bulawayo and my mission was to go and see my dad, my biological father. And for the first time, we were able to have, and that was the longest, almost an hour and a half
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
All my life, I am 51 now. All my life, I had never had more than 10, 20 minutes of conversation with my dad. The longest moments we ever had together was when he would be driving us to school or when we
Yeah.
were driving to the rural areas to
Yeah.
see my grandfather when he was still alive. Those were the longest moments together, but it was not conversation. You're sitting in the car, all the kids are there, everybody's there. He's playing his music on the radio. Nobody's talking. So this was
Yeah.
my very first time, 1.5 hours to sit with my dad and have a conversation. And we talked. And it was a healing moment. It was a restorative moment. So if your dad, mom is still alive, there's
Yeah.
still hope for you to have a conversation that brings reconciliation and healing. If they have gone home, release them, forgive them, let them go. Don't hold on to the pain of whatever happened when they were still alive. Let it go, let it go. Let God heal you, because indeed He does restore your soul. Stay connected to this program. Learn the principles, the wisdom. Learn from other people, that other guests that will be coming on, and they're going to share their stories. And as you hear what others have gone through, you'll be able to say, if they can go through that and survive, I am also going to survive and come out with my medal that I'm a survivor. I made it through.
Amen. Wow, wow, wow. What can I say, guys? I mean, this was off the hook. I thoroughly enjoyed having a conversation with my dad. And this is what I'm talking about, just sitting down, discussing and talking about day-to-day issues that seem to be, issues that we can't talk about. Dad, I can never, ever thank you enough for allowing me this opportunity to sit down and just have a conversation. And to the nation, to the Daddy Nation and the Mommy Nation, stay tuned. Like he said, like, subscribe, and make sure you connect. We are going to have more people that will come through, and we'll have these conversations every week. We're going to sit down and just have conversations. But let me release you. Thank you so much, Dr. Tich, for joining us. And thank you so much for having us today. I mean, for allowing us the time to just have a conversation with you and tackle. I hope and I pray that I'm able to steal you again and again and again, because I believe there is so much that is still unsaid that still needs to be said. There's a lot that, I mean, even as I was putting this together, there was so much that I didn't even know where to start and where to end, because that's the kind of impact that you've left in my life. I look at myself now. I mean, I'm a mother of three, a wife, and, a mompreneur. There's so much that I'm doing, and I can only give God the glory. And more so, I can also give you and mom, the praise and love, because you've literally taken us and pulled us and said, hey, you've never allowed us to actually just take a back seat and say, that's it for us. We're done. Life ends here. It's always been, no, you can do this, and you've carried us through. And again, I know not so many people, or not everybody's as privileged as I was. I can never thank you enough. So Dr. Tish, thank you so much for this opportunity, and we'll see you next time.